Today on VNN Mod Reviews, we are going to be talking about the Half-Life 2 Horde mode modification, Firefight Reloaded. Firefight Reloaded is essentially a new game mode added in within the very popular SMOD modification available for Half-Life 2 and other Source Engine games. In this game are 5 Half-Life 2 deathmatch levels that have already been available. The maps available are Resistance, Overwatch, Runoff, Lockdown, and Powerhouse. The game modes themselves are Combine Firefight, which is a face-off against Combine, Civil Protection, and Combine soldiers, Zen Invasion, which is a face-off against Vortigaunts, Houndeyes, Bullsquids, and Headcrabs, most of which brought over from Half-Life 1 Source, Antlion Assault, and Zombie Survival, which is pretty self-explanatory, and also Firefight Rumble, which is just all the enemies happening at once. Scattered amongst the map is a few weapons, some of which have not been seen in Half-Life 2, but have been seen within SMOD, along with different types of armor, the heavy and light armor. Throughout the game, each kill nets you experience, and the experience levels up your player. The player is then given a few different perks, including higher health, higher armor, and infinite ammo, along with health and armor regen. Now, the game itself is actually pretty fun if you play it in short bursts. However, there are many issues with this game, and to be honest, the game feels like it's a bit underdeveloped. There are a lot of things here that, if fleshed out, would be incredibly fun, but unfortunately, this game suffers from incredible repetition and doesn't seem to really go anywhere after you play for about 5 or 6 minutes. So here are some of the problems. After about 3 or 4 levels, the perks only increase your max health, max armor, or health regeneration. The only other major perk you're given is infinite ammo, and infinite ammo is incredibly unbalanced. Once you get the infinite ammo perk, the game is over. Just switch to a shotgun and continue shooting. Not only does infinite ammo never let you run out of ammo for the majority of weapons, but it also makes sure you never have to reload. If you want to balance out this at least a little bit, make sure the player can at least reload. Otherwise, all you have to do is bunny hop around the map and just shoot endlessly. And the maps are exactly the same from what are already seen in Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. And because of this, certain enemies that spawn don't work in certain parts of the map. Almost every single version of the game that you can play, which is essentially just an enemy set swap, has larger enemies, and these larger enemies can only exist in the areas that they don't clip through, which means you can just camp in these smaller cramped corridors and just pick off the easier and weaker enemies and just level your character up. And to be honest, there's no real progression in this game. The enemies continue spawning at relatively the same pace, and even though they might be slightly stronger as the game goes on, they definitely do not ramp up at the same speed that your character's health and armor ramps up. So the game becomes very easy very quickly. On the same coin, the unbalanced nature of this game can also result in a few games being ended almost immediately. If you play the game incorrectly, you'll be dead almost as quick as the game starts, which promotes players for using the same 2 weapons and playing on the same map. And on top of that, one of the few things added within this game, the suits and the armor, do nothing. They just act as very large suit batteries. And most importantly, multiplayer is not implemented. This game is single player only, and to be honest, this game more than any would benefit from a multiplayer game mode. Sure, the repetitiveness would not be fixed too much if you had a second player playing, but if you were to give the player some other thing that they had to do aside from just shoot everything for long periods of time, the game could be great. Give the player objectives and allow the player to play with their friends. And on top of that, this mod should have its own custom maps that fit the Horde mode gameplay, instead of just recycling the Half-Life 2 deathmatch maps that have already existed. And to be honest, the majority of things that the average Half-Life 2 player would see as a new feature added within this mod is only just in this mod because it's just SMOD with a new game mode slapped on it. So the things like the new weapons, the customization of view models and graphics, and a lot of other very detailed customization options have already been available in SMOD. Like I said before, this mod only adds Horde mode gameplay. So if the mod developers want to improve, create maps that are specifically suited for this type of game mode. Implement multiplayer, and on top of that, give the player more to do and more progression than just leveling up, getting higher health, and killing more enemies. The enemies mostly don't switch throughout the gameplay, and there might be a special enemy that takes a few more bullets and gives you a bit more experience. But overall, you're just killing the same 12 enemies, and then you die. Maybe. It's possible that you won't because you'll be so overpowered and know exactly where to stand on the map. So yes, this game is very boring if you play it for more than 5 or 6 minutes, and unfortunately, it could be a lot better. I feel like the developers of this mod should have spent more time fleshing out the game mode and fleshing out what was available to them with SMOD. But instead, I feel like this was thrown onto Steam very quickly, just to show that it could be put on Steam. It still could be updated over time, and I still think this mod could be great, but for right now, I recommend for people to pass on it. So anyways, that was my review of Firefight Reloaded. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike it, hit the dislike button. If you have any more complaints or compliments for me, leave them down in the comment section below, and thank you for watching. If you want to support these videos, I am running a Patreon campaign. The link to that is down in the description, and thank you very much. I'm Tyler McVicker. This is Valve News Network. Adios.